Hi everyone, it's good to be back. I have been away for a little while as I recently lost my grandmother and it have been a tough time for me. So I just needed some space to process everything. But here I am now, feeling ready to reconnect. And I hope this video will help you for your net preparation and to basically understand the concept of new historicism. Basic point of new historicism. As we know, new historicism is a theoretical approach and that is examining the historicity of text and the textuality of history. We'll be understanding what this is. So, new historicism is a literary theory that is arguing that texts are deeply embedded in the historical context in which they are produced. So it is actually focusing on understanding that how historical events, how the cultural norms or the power structures is shaping literature. Also, viewing history itself as a kind of text. So that is actually constructing and interpreting rather than just an objective reality. And this approach is emphasizing that both literature and history is influencing each other and must be read together to gain a fuller understanding. So now the historicity of texts and the textuality of history. As we have learned in the previous slide, the historicity of text is referring to the understanding of how a text is shaped by the historical and cultural conditions of its time. For example, as you can see, Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities, it is reflecting the social and political climate of French Revolution, the anxieties of 19th century industrial England, and it is also capturing the concerns about class struggles, social justice, and revolution that is influenced by the historical context in which Dickens wrote. On the other hand, if you see the textuality of history, it means recognizing that history itself is written. History itself is constructed and is interpreted like a narrative and is often shaped by the biases and perspective of those recording it. For instance, as you can see, the way British colonial historians wrote about Indian Rebellion of 1857. It is portraying it as the mutiny rather than the fight for independence. So this text of history is influenced by the power dynamics of the time and is subject to interpretation much like the literary text. So in overall, the essence, we can see that a new historicism is viewing literature as the product of its historical moment and also viewing history as the text that is shaped by those in power and open to interpretation. We can understand this. Therefore, we can understand new historicism is the critical theory that originated in the late 20th century and it brought significant transformation by the way literature and history are studied by questioning and challenging the conventional perspective and methods. The leading figure of New Historicism is Stephen Greenblatt, and he is the primary developer of this trend in literary studies. Now, this New Historicism is aiming to comprehend literature not merely as self-contained artistry entity, but rather a manifestation of the cultural and social influence that is shaping throughout its century. So this method is highlighting the interdependence of literature, history, power, and how they are reciprocating, and they have the impact and the influence on each other. So new historicism is emerging as a response to both new criticism and traditional historicism. As we know, new criticism, which was prevalent throughout the mid-20th century, and it prioritized the meticulous examination of the text, of the form of text, and it was giving importance to the structural aspects of literature, while mainly disregarding historical and social context. In the old criticism, we see just the reverse, that it regarded history as the fixed and unchanging context that provided a basis for comprehending literature. But in new historicism, we see that literature and history are interdependent and go hand in hand with each other. They are exerting influence and also being influenced by the other. So as we have seen the key figures, now we will be watching and reading some of the key figures. To begin with, the pioneer figure, Stephen Greenblatt. Now we have to understand that how Stephen Greenblatt's approach actually revolutionized the conventional literary theory, and he tried to incorporate historical context, cultural philosophy into examining of text. And in his seminal work, Renaissance Self-Fashioning from Moore to Shakespeare, that is published in 1980, the author is delving into the ways in which individuals during the Renaissance era is crafting their identities by drawing literature, culture, and sources of authority. Next prominent figure is Louis Montrose, and he is again a leading figure of New Historicism movement. His essay Professing the Renaissance, the Poetics and Politics of Culture, published in 1989, is a seminal work that is elucidating the fundamental concepts of New Historicism. So he is trying to highlight that the history and literature are closely linked, and emphasizing the importance of understanding the textual nature of history and historical nature of text. So he's trying to emphasize also the presence of power and ideology inside literary text and cultural practices. Next, H.R.M. Wieser, he again gained recognition, one of the leading figures of New Historicism, for his essay New Historicism 1989, again a significant compilation of articles and delineating the fundamental principles of the movement. So his contribution has played crucial role in establishing and spreading New Historicism approaches. Next we have the key concepts and methodology. Now we have already understood the historicity of text and the textuality of history. New historicism is trying to focus that history is not fixed. History is not an objective narrative. Instead, it is constructed through text. This means that the historical documents, like literary text, are influenced by the perspectives and power structures of that period. Conversely, literature is seen as the reflection of the historical moment in which it was produced, making it a valuable source for understanding the historical context as well. Next is power and discourse. So if you see Michel Foucault's idea, New Historicism is emphasizing the role of power in shaping discourse. So according to this view, literature is not passive, and it's an active participant in the construction of social and political power. So new historicists are trying to analyze how literary texts both reflect and contribute to the power dynamics of literature. Next, a characteristic feature of new historicist criticism is the use of anecdotes. It's brief, often obscure, historical incidents, and it is the starting point of analysis. So these anecdotes are used to illustrate how everyday events can reveal the underlying power structures and that cultural norms of that particular period. Interdisciplinary approach, again, new historicism is inherently interdisciplinary, drawing methods from history, from socio anthropology and other fields. So this approach is allowing scholars to come together, explore complex ways in which literature can interact with various aspects of culture and society. Now, the critiques and limitations. While new historicism has been influential, it has also faced severe criticism. Some scholars argue that the focus on power and discourse can lead to a deterministic view of history, where individuals are seen as mere products of larger social forces. Others criticize that new historicism has the reliance on anecdotes, so which can sometimes be misleading to, and it might be superficial, or selective interpretations of history might be done with these anecdotes. Therefore, we can understand that how new historicism has reshaped the study of literature by emphasizing the inseparability of text and context. By viewing literature as both product and producer of historical text, new historicists have offered a dynamic and nuanced understanding of the relationship between literature, history, and power. Despite its criticism, new historicism remains a vital approach in contemporary literary studies, and it has also provided valuable insights into the cultural and social dimensions of literature. Now, for better understanding of the concept of new historicism, here is a list of books provided, and you can go through it to have a better understanding of new historicism. I hope you liked the video. If you have enjoyed the video and have any questions or doubts about what we have discussed, feel free to drop them in the comment section. I'll be happy or dive deeper into anything that wasn't clear. Also, feel free to share any topic suggestions for future videos in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe for more content.